The old EF 50mm Canon lens versus the new 50mm for the EOS R. I'm gonna compare these and see how they stack up against each other on the EOS R, and I'll let you know. Let's take a look. So the idea here is to compare these two lenses, do a bunch of shots around town, variety of situations, variety of places, shooting different things. I know a lot of people like the 1.8, not a fan of the 1.8. I think it's cheap, I think it's crap, I think it's a waste of money. The 1.4 is great. I've used this for years. I love it. It's one of my favorite lenses. If I had to have one lens that costs under 500 bucks, that would be the lens. That would be it. Let's, darken up there. So I love this lens because it's small, it's fairly cheap, it's portable, light, it's all of those things. It's everything you want in a lens. It is so sharp. So let's see how much sharper this really expensive lens is compared to the $300, $200, I don't even know, Canon 1.4. Let's go. All right, now I think I have what I needed. Let's get back to my studio, my house, and give me some food because I'm kind of hungry, and then take a look at these photos. All right, let's go. All right, now that I'm back here in the studio, I've got these images loaded here on my laptop. Now let's take a look at them and compare and see what the difference is. All right, so the first image I have up here is a shot downtown. It is a very wide shot. We've got some really bright highlights on that white building. We've got some dark shadows in the trees. So initially flipping back and forth, looking at this overall, there's a tiny bit of difference, not much. But then if we zoom into 100%, kind of flip back and forth, it is really obvious looking at the stoplight here, which one is the more expensive lens. It is much crisper, much clearer, and you're not getting this chromatic aberration around the really bright highlights and the really dark shadows. And then just kind of looking around this image, when we go over to the edges, you can tell the 51.4 is getting a little soft around the edges. So looking at the 51.2, we can tell that this is just tack sharp from the center of the frame all the way to the edge. If we go back to the 1.4, we can see that the top of this frame's a little blurry going around the edge. Let's look at this Palo Verde tree over here. And we go back to the 1.2, and every bit of that is really sharp. And those shadow details seem like maybe it's staying a little bit crisper, but then again, it's the edge of the frame, so it might just be that edge. So the next image I have here, I shot in a dark alley. It was completely shaded. I shot real down low. I wanted to get that reflection in there, see if I could tell a really big difference in that depth of field between the 1.2 and the 1.4. That doesn't sound like a lot of depth of field difference, but let's see what we have. So I had a nice big puddle here to shoot a really cool reflection. Got lots of shadow, lots of bright highlights in here. And this one, even on the full frame, it's pretty easy to tell which one is which. The 1.2 is a little bit brighter. The 1.4 just seems soft overall on this one. So if we zoom in here on the 50mm 1.4, we can see that there's a lot of fringing around these lights in the parking garage. Overall, it's just a little fuzzy. It's not super tack sharp as we're looking through here, and especially in this reflection. So if we switch over to the 50mm 1.2, there is a massive difference in this reflection. Those lights are tack sharp, that building is tack sharp, and then if we zoom back up to see the actual building and compare those back and forth, you can tell just a huge difference, especially the crispness in those shadows. This little truck parked up here on the, I don't know, 3rd or 4th level. You can see that plain as day with the 51.2, not so much with the F4. It's a little blurry, it's a little hazy, and those colors just don't come through a lot. Remember in the beginning of this video when I said, now the 1.4, like I said, I've used this for years. I love it, it's one of my favorite lenses. I'm starting to question that a little bit. Okay, this image is absolutely ridiculous, and it's not a great image, but it is probably the worst scenario you could shoot, like a really bright background with a really dark subject, and I just wanted to see what would happen between these with these two lenses. Looking at them overall, Once again, not much difference. The bokeh in one is a lot better than the other. So if I go back and forth between these, I'm gonna guess that this one is the 50-1.2 and that's the 1.4. They're both kind of awful, but I just wanted to see. I was really curious on this shot. Let's just say they both created the same image in this horrible situation. So next I took these lenses and did a couple of portraits with them. I did a really close portrait, I did a full-length body portrait, and then I did a night portrait using nothing but available light. Let's take a look at those. Okay, so looking at these two overall, the colors are about the same. I kind of messed up on the distance with this one, so it's really hard to judge the bokeh in the background. One obviously looks better, but it's also on the one where she is closer to me. So my bad. Sorry, I didn't notice this when I was shooting. Let's zoom in. So both of these were focused right on the eyes. So let's take a look at this one. It's looking pretty sharp. You can really see the eyelashes, the eyebrows. There's pretty good detail in here. Now let's look at the other one. Big difference, eh? Big difference. When you think that you can see the eyelashes here, then you look at this one, you can actually see the individual eyelashes. I mean, that is sharp. And then if we look at the sharp focus on the eyes, and then how much that drops off by the time you get to the ears, that's a really shallow depth of field. So if we zoom in, the tip of the nose is out of focus, in focus, out of focus. That's a shallow depth of field. Sometimes that's nice, sometimes it's not. Now if we go back and look at the 1.4, ears look about the same, eyes still pretty sharp for this lens, and then the tip of the nose, pretty much in focus too. So you got a little bit more range there. Okay, let's take a look at the full length. If we go back and forth on the overall with the full length, not a huge difference there. In the highlights in the background, you can tell that there's definitely a little bit more bokeh on one than the other, but let's zoom in and see what we find here. Flip back and forth, it's very obvious which one is which. That 1.2 is still just tack sharp, just tack sharp. That 1.4, little hazy, little blurry, little fuzzy. Once again, you can really tell the difference in these two lenses. Okay, the last two shots I want to compare are a low light portrait. All right, so looking at the overall on this one, going back and forth, the biggest difference you notice right away is the lights in the background. They're much bigger and much softer in this shot than they are in this shot, which would lead you to believe that this is the 1.2 and that this is the 1.4. Now let's zoom in to about 100-200% and kind of see what's going on. So the focus once again on these were right on the eyes, and then once again looking at these, those eyelashes, eyebrows are much sharper on the 1.2. So clearly this Canon 50mm 1.2 is by far, like far and away the winner. But is it worth an extra $2,000? That's up to you. It's your money, you gotta spend it. I don't have to spend it. I have the $300 lens plus the $100 adapter for the EOS R. One thing I would really like to do now that I've done this test is compare the 50-1.2 EF lens versus this new RF 1.2. I think that would be an interesting comparison because the old EF lens is still way cheaper than this new RF lens. So would I buy this lens right now? No, I would not. That is just so much money for a lens with one focal length. Yes, it's a really amazing lens, but I just can't see myself dropping that kind of money on it right now. If you are a fashion photographer, do a lot of headshots, do a lot of really low light, it might be really good for wedding photographers, but you have to make that lens work for you. You have to have that lens being able to pay itself off like quickly. I just can't see myself doing it. I mean, not anytime soon, not with the work that I do. It's a great lens, don't get me wrong. And that got me thinking actually with the quality of this lens and the other couple of lenses that came out with the EOS R, I am pretty sure Canon did not design these lenses for the EOS R. Their next camera, their next 1DX Mark III, it's not gonna be a 1DX Mark III. It's gonna be a mirrorless, and it's gonna be an absolute beast of a camera, because this is amazing lens. And that 28-70 f2 that they came out with, again, a very expensive lens, but I'm pretty sure that that's gonna be an amazing lens, and they did not design these lenses just for the R. They're about to unleash a beast of a camera. It's gonna be, it's just, I don't even know what it's gonna be, but I'm pretty sure it's just gonna like blow people away. People are like, oh my God, I gotta go back to Canon. This is so great. I'm gonna stop talking about Canon now because this is all speculation. I don't know what I'm talking about. Canon, if you want me to test your new camera, let me know. Let me know, I'm game. I wanna give it a shot. Literally. All right guys, if you like this video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button down there. It's down there somewhere, right by it. It's probably a subscribe button. If you see that, go ahead and hit that too. If you don't see it, thank you for already being a subscriber. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment down there in the comments. Let me know what you think of this video. Ask the questions. Ask all the questions. I love the questions. I love answering the questions and figuring out answers to your questions. So let me know what you got. Throw them at me. Thanks for checking this out, guys, and I will see you next time. Anything else about the lens? Anything else about the lens? It was a really great lens. I'm sad to send it back, but now it's time to send it back and do this video, which I just recorded. So now it's done, and you guys will see it soon. Thanks so much for sticking around today. I will see you guys next time.